Hey there. Jesus is still talking in the vineyard, I think, but I know he's not at the Garden of Gethsemane yet. And he's used figurative language and parables lots of times in his teaching. And he's telling them something that I think they're really relieved to hear in verse 25 of chapter 16. These things I have spoken to you in figurative language. An hour is coming when I will no longer speak to you in figurative language, but will tell you plainly of the Father. Why figurative language up to that point? In Matthew 13, and I also believe in Luke 8, they asked the question, after he told the parable of the soils, why do you speak in parables? And he said, Matthew 13:13, I speak to them in parables because while seeing they do not see, while hearing they do not hear, nor do they understand. In their case, the prophecy of Isaiah is being fulfilled, which says, you'll keep on hearing but not understanding. You'll keep on seeing but will not perceive. For the heart of this people has become dull. With their ears they scarcely hear, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise they would see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their heart, and return, and I would heal them. I want to emphasize a statement that would sneak by us, maybe. They have closed their eyes. It's like, I have truth for you. Do you want it? No, I don't want it. Okay, if you want darkness, you've got darkness. Now, if you don't want to understand the will of God because you don't want to do the will of God, and since you don't want to do the will of God, why should I tell it to you? I'll tell it in parables, and then I'll explain the parables so that the people that really want to do the will of God will understand what the will of God is. That's what he told Nicodemus in John chapter 3. 3:16, of course, was spoken to Nicodemus about God so loving the world. But then in verse 19, he says, this is the condemnation. Light has come into the world, and men love darkness. If you don't tell me what the will of God is, then I don't have to do anything about it. Or better yet, God's saying, I've already told you some things and you haven't done anything about what I told you, and so why should I let you understand the will of God when you're not going to do it? And so that prophecy in Isaiah was basically, by an act of their will, they are rejecting the lordship of God Almighty over their lives. And so God has given them the blindness that they seem to desire. But who are the disciples? Followers of Jesus. Jesus said, you want light? You walk with me and you'll walk in the light of the world. And it says what in 1 John? That Christians walk in the light and have fellowship with each other as God continues to cleanse them. Yeah, that's the way to live. So he does speak plainly to us because we get the parables explained. But sometimes I think we want to know the will of God in a matter, and God doesn't show us because he knows we really wouldn't do it. I ask him regularly to examine my heart and show me, Lord, is there anything I'm holding back from you? Because I think sometimes it's like, I want to show you my will in a particular matter, but you're not going to obey my will if I show it to you. So I'm going to leave it in the dark for now. That's where I am. You take it up with God as to where you are in this. Have a great day.